Brandon Lamar Simmons is a singer and songwriter, a producer, a multi-instrumentalist who dabbles in alternative, indie rock, and easy listening. Now he tells me what's next for him in his music career for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook.
Brandon Lamar Simmons, welcome to the award-winning Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you, thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. I know that you are a singer and songwriter, a producer, and a multi-instrumentalist who obviously was born here in Charleston and raised here as well. Let me ask you, who is Brandon Lamar Simmons these days?
Honestly, just like anyone else, I'm just a guy working, trying to make it. That's all it is. So currently playing music full time all around Charleston, which is awesome. Just get to do what I love to do.
What song, Brandon, best describes your career right now? Which one of your songs?
One of my songs. I actually just recently read a song that I'm currently in the process of recording and all that, called "Here I Go," and basically it's basically just about going for it, so because that's what everybody's trying to do, is just go for it. So that's my newest song, and I'm starting to record that probably sometime next week.
Wow.
I'm playing it live once or twice. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. That's my mindset right now.
How do you
so that's go ahead.
Oh no, you could. There's a little delay here in Zoom, anyways. But let me ask you, how do you go forward musically?
What do you mean?
You just mentioned your song, "Here We Go." How do you go musically?
Like how do I write, or honestly, it just kind of happens. So as far as writing goes, sometimes I can write 3 songs in a week, and sometimes I can go a year without writing. It just kind of depends. And as far as performing around town, I mean, I'm not performing my originals all the time, and I do sometimes, but around town I'm performing songs people know, covers and things like that. And during the day, I spend a lot of time just playing guitar, playing the drums, just being in my office, which I'm in now, pretty messy, but just spending time just working on whatever instrument or whatever skill or whatever it may be. So
I know you also told Layla Goulden of Fox 24 that you love playing originals. Which original really showcases you as an artist, Brandon?
Probably, I have a song I wrote probably about one of my older songs, about 12 years ago. It's called "Drowning." And that one, I mean, I was going through a tough time at that point, but that one, to this day, just hits a little bit different. In my opinion, it's probably one of my better songs, and it's also one of my older songs.
Well, let me ask you, what is the biggest difference musically about your career from 12 years ago to right now?
Growth. Yeah, growth. Because at that time, when I wrote that song, at that time I had been playing guitar maybe a year. I had been singing in front of people for 6 months.
Wow.
I knew 4 chords. You know what I mean? So since then, I've done a lot more musically since then. And just like any skill or any profession, you grow, you get better. So it's funny about that. Like when I wrote that song, I told you I was very minimal and as far as my skill goes, and I actually stopped playing that song for a few years. So I kind of scrapped it and didn't touch it for a while. And a few months ago, brought it back. Whoa, excuse me. Whoa, hello. I'm back. All right. And then a few months ago, brought it back and was able to incorporate, just better sounding quality, better skill, better musicianship, and growth. And it ultimately ended up being a better song. It was like being a brand new song again.
And what skills did you incorporate into this particular song?
Just general guitar skills, being able to be a little bit more melodic, having a stronger voice, maybe changing things up lyrically here and there, just because again, it's like you get better at something and then you revisit one of your old projects and just kind of incorporate what you've learned over the years into what you did prior.
Yeah, I completely understand. And what lyrics are ideal for your music style today?
It depends on how I'm feeling. you know, I've had lyrics that are super deep and meaningful, and I've had lyrics that are just, "Hey girl, I like your dress." So honestly, it just depends on how I'm feeling.
And you know what? You told Layla Gould of Fox 24 that you have been writing since, obviously, you've been 17, 18 years old. What was your writing skill then, or writing style then, versus right now?
My writing style then was a little bit more, trying to find the words. All right, so when you're 17 or 18 years old, you let's be honest, you get a little more emotional about certain things. Um, so I will say I tended to pour a lot more emotion into my songs back then than I do now. Now it's not that there's not emotion behind my songs today, but now today, um, instead of being emotional about it, I'm more, there's a word I'm looking for, realistic.
Sure, sure,
Yes.
sure, sure.
I'm more optimistic about it. Yeah, things of that nature. Because like back then, you're 18 and you hate everything, but now, now, like I said earlier, I'm in a mindset like a just a go for it, live your life, be happy mindset, and that's where I am now.
And what was your mindset back then, Brandon?
Mindset back then was just the mindset of an 18-year-old kid. Honestly, I had a honestly, I had a dream of like touring and all that stuff that most musicians want to do when they're young. But at the same time, um, my head was wrapped around girls that I shouldn't have been wrapped around, and that's not a thing anymore because I'm married and all that now. Yeah, so things have changed. So, but my mindset then was just being an 18-year-old kid, just doing what I want to do as an 18-year-old. And then fast forward a few years. Life happens, you end up working jobs you don't want to do, this, that, and the other. And then, like I said, over the past year or so, I just got into this stay happy mindset and go for it mindset. And, that's where I'm in now.
What do you dream of doing now musically?
So as I said earlier, although I do play music full time, I do a lot of cover gigs. I mean, I'm sure you've gone to a restaurant or something. There's a band playing for 3 hours, and there's a lot of songs. That's me. I do a lot of that, which is awesome, and I love doing it. But I went through a while where that was all I was doing, and I'm only recently, over the past couple months, getting back into creativity. So where I'm at right now is in 2022, I want to produce more, release more songs, showcase creativity a lot more than I have been over the past few years.
How creative were you with those gigs, those cover gigs around town?
Yeah, so with those cover gigs around town, I like to play songs as if I wrote them. A lot of times you'll hear these musicians play these cover gigs, and you can kind of tell it's not really their style. They're just playing it because people know it, which I've been guilty of. But as far as playing cover gigs, I want to make sure I play songs that I thoroughly enjoy, because that's just going to make me play it better. And although it's not my song, it's going to make me put more of my heart into it. You know what I mean? So if I'm playing a cover gig, you're going to hear me playing a lot of like Michael Jackson and stuff like that, because that's honestly, one of my favorite things. So a lot of cover gigs, like I said earlier, you're just playing songs people know, which is fine. But I also just want to make sure I'm playing songs that not only that people know that, but that I thoroughly enjoy, so that I know that I'm putting my heart into it, even though it's not my song.
Yes, indeed. What songs do you thoroughly enjoy, Brandon, that you would actually write differently?
Like cover songs?
Yes, sir.
Oh man. Whew. Probably one of my favorite songs to perform is "Stand by Me" by Ben E. King. We all knew that one. We all know that one, and I'm not going to get into details, but that one really connects me to my late grandmother. So when I do that one in particular, that's easily always my favorite song at a gig every time.
Wow. What song would you sing right now as far as a dedication to your late grandmother?
That one. and honestly, like I said, the reason is because it's the last song she heard me sing before she passed. So that one hits home for me a lot.
Wow. Wow. I obviously, speaking of music, you talked, Layla, about releasing new music. On that, you said, "Hey, if the time is right, you will release new music." But let me ask you, Brandon, when will the time be right to expand your music to other genres?
Next, or other genres now, to release it next year, because people like to ask me, what kind of music do you play? And I don't like to stick to one genre. Like, you have your country artist over here, your hip hop artist over here, your rock artist over here. And I like to, mix it up a good bit, like, so one song might be a little bit more soul. The other one might be a little bit more folky. The other one might be a little bit more rock based. And that's just, I just find sticking to one particular style all the time kind of limited and eventually boring. So, I don't want to get bored, therefore I don't get bored. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. I know that obviously your music bounds around alternative, indie rock, and of course, easy listening, that is. What is on your music playlist today?
On my music playlist, just like driving around in my car? It's going to be a very cliche answer, but everything, really.
Wow.
Of everything. I mean, like I said, you'll hear me listening to, you can almost always hear me listening to like Michael or Stevie. But then I like to bring it back to, my late high school days where I'm listening to a lot of like 2000s rap. I listened to a lot of like hard rock back then as well. So just depending on the day, just, it'll switch up to R&B, like older R&B.
Yes.
Sometimes modern R&B, like Leon Bridges. Love that dude. So yeah, just good mixture. Really good mixture. All the time.
All the time. What is the biggest difference about music from when you were listening to it to right now?
Well, there's a lot more. There just seems to be a lot more. There's a word I'm looking for. It's not mainstream. There just seems to be a lot more heart back in the day. It's kind of what I'm getting at. Not that there's not now, because you will find a lot of artists, like modern artists today, who put their heart and soul into it, and it's awesome. And I love it. But I just feel like there's more of an artist releasing a certain genre because that's what these people want to hear, rather than that's what they're feeling. I just feel like there's more of that. And like I said, that's not entirely the case. I just feel like there's more of that today. But that could just be my opinion. I could be totally wrong. But that's just kind of what I see.
And what is in your heart? I know this is probably a redundant question, Brandon, but what is in your heart? What does your soul feel when it comes to music?
Bottom line, man, it makes me happy. That's the simplest way I can put it. The way my mindset has been lately is, we as people, there's no point in not doing something that makes you happy. There's no point, because you live, you have one life, you live that life, you die. So I really am focused on just doing what makes me happy. I tell my wife the same thing. She's a photographer and an artist, so I'm like, your photography and your art makes you happy, so do it. And that's where I've been at for myself. Music is what makes me happy, therefore that's what I want to do. So I do it.
Yes, sir. What will keep you being happy with music 5-10 years from now?
Just being able to honestly just continue to do it. I've been lucky enough to play music in general since I was 11, and I've been lucky enough to make it part of my living for the past maybe about 8 years now. So just being able to do it, and even if somewhere down the line I'm not doing music full time, I'm still always going to play music to an extent. Like I used to tell people, or I have told people, I probably won't, but I could end up the CEO of a multi-million dollar company, and I'm still going to play gigs. weekends because it just makes me happy.
Right.
So as long as, but I'm thankful.
Yes, indeed, absolutely. And I know at the age of 18, you decided to pick up a guitar, take on a microphone, phone that is, and perform as a singer and songwriter. Where were you emotionally then?
All over the place, honestly. Because at that point, one thing about myself, I'm really bad at stepping out of my comfort zone. I'll be totally honest with you. A lot of people are, and at that time, I was predominantly a drummer. At that time, I grew up playing the drums since I was 12, playing in church and all that stuff. So when I hit 18, so learning guitar, and then did the complete 180. I mean, playing the drums in front of people versus playing the guitar and singing and front manning is a completely different. It's a completely different environment. So where I was there was like, what am I doing? Like, what am I getting myself into right now? I don't know how this is going to go. But let's see what happens.
Yeah. What is your comfort zone now?
Yeah. My comfort zone now. My comfort zone now is just doing what I love, just being out, singing, playing guitar in front of people, and also playing the drums. I also play drums in the band as well. So as long as I'm just doing any of that, I'm good. I'm comfortable performing. Yeah, performing, period.
Period. And who is Brandon Lamar Simmons on the stage performing?
A real fun-loving guy. I like to interact with whoever's there, crack jokes to the crowd. I've actually been known to, like, I told you I play drums in a band. There have been times where my band is playing, and whatever song we're playing, there are no drums for the first 60 seconds. So I will get off the drum set and go mess with people for 60 seconds. And like, I just like to have fun. Just a fun-loving guy on stage. The way you're smiling now is the way I'm smiling when I'm playing with people.
Yeah, that's all that matters. And I know, obviously, you're back here in Charleston now, as you mentioned, gigging in various projects. What projects match your music style?
What do you mean by project? Like my personal projects?
Yeah, yes, sir. Your music projects, yes, sir.
Yeah. So just everything writing, because that way I'm focused on my feelings and what's going on in my head. Because the band I play drums for, we're a cover band. We play all types of different genres, and like I said earlier, playing solo as well. I'm playing a bunch of different genres. So when I'm at home, I'm just me.
Wow.
And to release more in 2022.
That's just amazing. That's really, really amazing. Well, Brandon Lamar Simmons, thank you so much for your time. And again, welcome to the award-winning Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
Oh, you're very welcome.